Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride.
Hello, everybody. I think before we get started, I'm sure most of you know the unfortunate news, but we'll take a moment to remember Tommy V and MI, who suddenly passed, unfortunately. So take a moment at home, put some F's in the chat, what they're really meant for. Pour a little bit out of your drink, how it goes. Bradley, thank you so much for your very, very thoughtful super chat. Just terrible news. Terrible news. Always sad. F in the chat. Seriously, Tommy V, not Tommy D. Hi, Courtney. Hi, everybody. I apologize for being late. I have two reasons for being late. I'm gonna say again, but firstly, thank you to Saul for a tip earlier about a SOV sit in Judge Boyd's court. So I just literally got that footage, made it into a video, and just uploaded it. It will be live in 10 minutes. 9 minutes now. And that's why I'm a little bit late, because I wanted to get that up. We do have another case to watch. It is from Thurston County. I spent time editing this case down today because Judge Buffering was so buffery. And I mean that in the sense that he spent all the time reading these freaking complaints, I guess. And it was just like a constant, it was just constant. Like I think I pulled out 10 or 12 minutes of silence. I was so mad. But I did it for us together. I didn't listen to the rest of the case. He passed, MB, unfortunately. And Tommy V had a court channel. And as another creator, like I've talked to him before. He's reached out to me on different things, helped me with some things. I've helped him with some things. So it's really sad to hear that he passed away suddenly. That comes info via apparently his Facebook page and his mother. Facebook, you guys know that, but as verified as it can get in these sort of ways. And it's super sad to me because, again, court channels, it seems like a dime a dozen, but most of these court channels are nameless, faceless places, not real people. But he was a real guy, so very sad to hear. I was really hoping it was a hoax, to be honest with you. I was like, wow, Tommy's made it to the death hoax stage. I don't like being wrong. How about those things? But what better way to get our mind off of something sad than to honor Tommy's spirit, because we know he's now watching court from above. I bet it's cool up there. He can watch all the different things he wants. I bet he can see the TPO hearings that we're not allowed to see anymore. If there is a God, please let it be that Tommy gets to sit in on all the cool hearings. Somebody said it was a blood clot. I don't know, but again, F in the chat for Tommy. I so am sad about that. It really like rocked me a little bit earlier today to hear that. I know that he really enjoys YouTube and really, really enjoyed doing this. So I am glad that he was able to do that before he passed. And yeah, I think he can read the judge's notes. I think he can even influence them if he wants. I'm gonna let that one be. I'm not in charge. I know, Lisa. We just found out. Just today, just right now. So a little bit very sad, but we are going to persevere through this. Alley Cat's here. Hi, guys. All right, so we are gonna go. Let's go watch some petty ass people. What better way? What better way? Thurston County is fucking chock full of petty ass people. I don't know how else to explain it. It's uncanny. So let's get over there. Also, do me a solid. Don't forget, after this, go check out the soft sit video that I put out. Help me get some subs. Hopefully it gets some traction. Maybe I got it out first, or ish. Okay, let's go.
All right, Jeffrey and Jennifer Prevost and Angela Monroe.
Also, Jeffrey and Jennifer, whenever couples share initials as a couple or as a part of a couple who used to share initials, it's a little creepy. It's almost like sharing Facebook. Find that a little creepy too. Thurston County is upper hell. I know, Lisa. It hit me really hard earlier. I was really quite upset. I went and looked at them. I was like, "Can't we just talked?" So Jennifer and Jeff, and then
Everybody, please raise your right hands for me. Swear the testimony in this case to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I swear you're
I do.
Yes. All right, thank you. All right, so now finish with Ms. Monroe's declaration. And once again, we're in the
And that was, I'm not joking you, almost probably 12 to 14 minutes that I pulled out of silence, and they all sat in silence. I was shocked. Hi, just Grammy.
neighborhood zone here. I think you all had a chance to watch the last case. And some of my same thoughts occur here. I don't know, without hearing from either one of you yet, just reading what you filed, I don't know how you're going to ask me to say one side's right and one side's wrong. I don't think it's going to be that. So
Judge is down today too.
It's
He's
one
like,
of
you
those
guys just want me to
situations where you-
decide all these problems all the time. People are always coming to me with problems, expecting me to pick one side over the other. Like, yeah, Judge, that's kind of what a judge does. I'm sorry that that's a little sad for you today. I don't really get it, but okay.
Somebody sitting in my place thinks, boy, I sure wish people could just figure out how to get along. You know, they're going to be rubbed close proximity. You don't want to make the rub the primary basis of the relationship. You want to figure it out so you don't have these issues. That's my lecture. Okay, I'll hear from the Prevost first, and you've had a chance to review what Ms. Monroe says, which seems very similar to what the Prevosts have told me in their petition. So I'll let the Prevost go first. You're the petitioners.
Thanks, Your Honor. I don't want to take up too much of the court's time since this is the third incident that we've been through. I just want to go over some highlights with some of the stuff that we submitted. And, you know, I agree with your assessment that we are neighbors and we should learn how to get along. I feel like we've tried to do that. I've tried opening a case with the Dispute Resolution Center of Thurston County over the fence the first time. I've tried dropping cases. I've tried leaving her alone. Like, we've never had any input other than the one fence issue that she put on her property. We've never had any issue with anything that she's done with her house while she was building it. We've lent her tools. We were, you know, I mean, while she was building the house, we had a very amicable relationship. It wasn't until, you know, that fence went up and over the property line, and, you know, I don't know why she put the fence there to begin with, but I do know that she is a property manager by trade, and the best way that I can think of to start conflict with your neighbor is to put a fence on or over the property line without saying anything. Like, she totally could have come to us and said, hey, I want to put up this fence. And we could have said, hey, I want to put up this fence. And we could have set them back. And there was just no reason not to do that. Then obviously we came home to find the fence in the West Cement. We pulled it up, placed it next to her driveway. Did not intend to damage the fence, intended to have a conversation, which would have been a lot harder once the cement dried. She put the fence back. She's never given us any proof or submitted any proof to this court that that fence was damaged in the process of us pulling it up. Like, that really wasn't what we intended to do. Obviously, the next problem was that instead of trying to work it out with us, she just went and got a protective order against us. And the first sentence of her declaration in that case was on August 14th. The respondents attended court in person. While I am too threatened by their aggressive behavior and history of aggression in town to interact with the Prevosts anyway, was on Zoom. Which is a strange statement to make and didn't age well, given that the day after that the protective order case was dismissed, she was sitting right next to my driveway and watched me throw away my recycling in my trash can. Just sat there and cold stared at me the whole time. A couple of days later after that, or a week later after that, she was driving down Pioneer Street, and my friend and I were standing on the corner, and she swerved at us. She swerved at us to the degree that we had to jump back to avoid her hitting us. This would be right around the time that she would have gotten the communication from the Dispute Resolution Center that I was trying to negotiate with her about the fence. I don't know if she was trying to retaliate for that or if she was playing games, but driving down that road recklessly in the mornings is unsafe. It's a one-lane road, bushes, cars parked, no sidewalks. Almost our entire neighborhood uses that road to just bike and walk to school, families and children. And she drives down this road recklessly on a regular basis. And when she does it, she like waves at us and points at us. It's weird. And she should stop. Somebody's going to get hurt if she doesn't stop the shenanigans on that street in the mornings. And we are not the only ones that.
What street are you talking about?
Pioneer Street. She did include a map. I did not include a map. Pioneer Street is one block up from San Francisco Street. It's just a small, literally just a couple driveways and a bunch of bushes, no sidewalks. I did include a picture of it in my declaration. And so after that, you know, I didn't do anything. I didn't call the police.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
Then a couple days after that, we got a 5-minute video of her just parked in front of our house and staring in the front window for no reason. Once again, we ignored it. And this was about the time where she rejected our proposals for the dispute resolution center over the fence. We decided to put our own fence up, and obviously chaos ensued when she came home. When she saw that we had contractors who were building a fence on our fence line, she drove her car up onto our property. She pulled one of these 8-foot fence posts out of the ground and threw it like a javelin at the contractors and said, oops. Then she got in her car, spun her tires, parked over another post hole. She got in, I don't know where she got the knife that she had, but she was taking a knife, and I included this in one of our videos. She was taking a knife and she was stabbing it through the fence and dragging it down the fence boards between the slats. And then she was walking around her driveway, like holding the knife, like it was a weapon. And it was not a sharp knife, it was a butter knife, but still, like that's a very strange escalation. And then she continued to get in her car, spin her tires, lunge her car at the fence where the contractors were working. She engine like she was going to hit somebody with her car. Then she got her hose and she started spraying water in our post holes while she pushed on the fence, trying to push the fence over. And we have that all in the videos. I believe it was Miss Monroe pushing fence video and the one with water in the post holes. We were advised by our contractor that if she continued to do that, and this is after probably 2 hours of her, the stuff with the car, pushing on the fence, just saying terrible things to the contractors and me. It wasn't okay. Her behavior was not okay. And then I thought we were going to lose the fence. I called OPD. They said they were still classifying it as a boundary dispute, that it had to escalate. I picked up the hose and I sprayed her with it from across the yard. She had been spraying us with her hose the entire time. Our fence line, our contractors, us, and I was returning fire. Not proud of it, but I did it.
Returning fire, ma'am, what the fuck are you talking about? I pray that you're talking about a hose. Oh, also, I wish we get to see the videos, but guys, we usually don't in Thurston County. I mean, they're so open about the court, but they never put the evidence on there.
After that, the police came, told her to go in the house, and we finished the fence. And the next day, I filed for the protective order. I believe it was like November 17th or something, I'm not sure. Came to the court, filed the protective order, submitted almost everything that you see here in this case now. She was advised that there was a packet out for service for her because the day after that, she called the police to report that we had moved the survey marker. No one has moved the survey marker. The survey marker is in the exact same place that it's always been. She has complained to city planning about this since November. They've been out multiple times and they have told her, and she even included this in one of her declarations in an email that they sent her, nobody's moved the property marker. They've investigated it. This is not a problem. So if it was a problem, we'd have a problem with city planning by now. They've also been out several times to look at our deck because she keeps calling to complain about it, which we have the permits and everything. There's nothing wrong with the fence or the deck or the property line. Then after not responding to serve, and if she honestly believed that I assaulted her with a hose and moved a property marker and then apparently vandalized her car, why didn't she respond to the protection order and come and have her day in court? This is all in that time frame. The day after, I dismissed that court order because I couldn't get her served, even though OPD went to her house 3 times when she was home. Process server went to her house twice while she was home. She would not answer the door. The day after I dismissed that case, she called again and she complained that I had put paint stain on her car. When I talked to the officer who let me know that she had made this report, he said that the story that she had told about the paint stain and the damage to her car was not consistent and the OPD was not going to be investigating that as a crime. I asked him if he thought that she maybe did that to her own car and then tried to blame it on us. He said that it was a non-zero possibility that she had done that. And during this time, the officer that I spoke to told me that that OPD had a history of interactions like this with her, just kind of like strange things where she constantly feels like somebody's assaulting her, doing something. She's made multiple domestic violence complaints, but none of them have ever been confirmed. And there are a couple of police reports. The officer told me to go look at her public records. I did. There's a lot of stuff in there. And it is similar to this. And it does seem like there's a mental health issue at play here. Because and I talked to the officer about that. We're compassionate about the mental health piece of this. It was almost Christmas. I decided not, even though she'd made another report saying that I'd vandalized her car, I decided not to try and file for a new order. We decided to just leave her alone, which we did. And she had a couple little incidents where she would come over and take pictures of the house or take pictures when I was putting my garden in, but she mostly left us alone. And we were glad. So we actually put off plans to rebuild our deck to just give this situation time to settle down. And so we applied for all the permits because we figured she would complain. We're just replacing our deck. We're not rebuilding it. It was there before. We're just rebuilding it. We didn't really need a permit, but we got one. And then even the first 2 days of construction on the deck, like we felt like everything was fine. She didn't do anything. And then we went on a short vacation. And while we were gone, she started up with the contractors coming over to our side of the fence line and just saying stuff to them, saying stuff to Bert's kids. I wasn't there. Mr. Crane issued a statement in terms of what that looked like for him. We got back on, I guess it was Tuesday. I don't remember the date, but that Wednesday morning is when I came outside. And I was talking to Bert Crane, the contractor, and she sat in her car 10 feet from me and just in her driveway and just stared at me, cold stared at me for like 5 minutes, and she was filming or taking pictures. And at that point was when I filed for another order. We don't want the situation with the deck to get out of hand in the way that the situation with the fence was. And it looked like it was headed in that direction. I'd just like to be able to put a deck in front of my house without her losing her mind. And that's all we're asking for. We want to be able to walk our son to school safely and to be able to do what we need to do with our front yard and our property without having to bother us. Like, we're not doing anything to her. We have never done, fence thing. And I sprayed her with the hose because but the fence it was not intended to be, that was not intended to damage the fence and the spraying. Anyway, I just want to go ahead and respond to some of the things she said in her declaration really quick, and then I'll just hand the floor over. I honestly could not make a lot of sense of this. She says twice in the first paragraph of her declaration that she's been talking to that she's the domestic violence victims advocate. I don't know why she would be doing that for a fence issue. She says in the statement, I have no interest in harassing or filming my neighbors or the vendors. That's been disproven. She says it in her own statement that she's been over here taking pictures and video. I don't know why. Like, there's no reason for it. And then she says here, I'm in real estate. I have a concern seeing the same vendor around. And like she did, she went over there and she was harassing them. It's ridiculous. She should not be talking to them. It's not illegal, but it's definitely inappropriate. And it is illegal if her intent is to harass. She talks about the fence and the protection order. I'm just not even going to go into that. I think that's been dealt with. She seems to think that Hunter Wright works for American Fence Company. He doesn't. And anyway,
What in the fuck is happening in this case? Ma'am. Yeah, that's the face that we all have. I'm almost positive that Jennifer and Jeff share a Facebook account. I'm almost 100% positive that Jennifer and Jeff share a Facebook account. Hundy P. Allegedly. No, she's not a lawyer. She's a Karen. But they've done this 3 times, I think. So maybe she's learned her lesson from her previous mistakes. The judge is like, oh, he's upset. And it's hard to know with this judge. He's upset.
Right. Yeah. And then she says I turned her into CPS after the fence incident. I didn't. It was the police officers who responded to the case. And I looked at the public records, and in her custody case that she's going through, it's referenced several times that it was the police that called CPS. It was.
Whoa, what are you talking about? You can look at her public records for her custody case? Can we do that? I've tried to do that before, and I sort of got in there. Somebody got in my way. Hi, Mikey. Oh, I forgot. Mikey doesn't listen when he comes into the chat. So he doesn't hear me speaking. You guys can say hi, hi to Mikey, but he won't hear me. Thank you. Maybe he'll see me. I'll bow. Thank you. You're so sweet. Oh. Oh, you do hear me this time. Oh, okay. Fair enough. And they were great lives today. I thought that for sure. Is that right? So then, but wouldn't it be sort of improper to go ahead? Well, I guess in a court case, I mean, that's what it's relevant to. I don't know. I don't know. She doesn't seem like an attorney, except in the fact that she speaks a lot and that she apologized and said that she didn't want to use up the court's time. Oh, thanks. Well, I hope I look good. Yeah, let's see.
Not me. She talks about that she had the butter knife that she was using to dig weeds in her front yard. She absolutely was brandishing that knife at us. No. Just give me 1 second. She says a few things about our dog, and the one thing I would say about our dog is he made one bad decision when he was about 9 months old.
Our dog? Is that what she just said? Our dog made one bad decision when he was 9 months old. First of all, is that how that works with dogs? Do they make decisions in that same sense? Like to the point of like, no, I don't think that's how it works. They're just animals. You're anthropomorphizing the animal, ma'am. This is so weird. Can you imagine? Like, how old is the dog now? This one? Thank you. Thank you. I thought that meant mom. Is it, or is this dad? I don't remember.
He's never done it again. He doesn't have any kind of a record, and she doesn't even say that he's ever been a threat to her, that he's been aggressive with her. He hasn't. She says she produced some stuff about like us stalking her house before she moved in there. Actually, the construction on that house was going on for about a year. During that time, there were a couple incidents where tools were stolen or materials or whatever, and the contractors would come back in the morning to find like beer cans and stuff. She actually asked us to keep an eye on her house, and that's what those text messages were. It wasn't like it was a lot. There were a lot of people that walked through there, whether that was neighbors or just kids or whatever. We only let her know when it was somebody that looked like they shouldn't be there, and she appreciated that. That was not stalking. I think we've addressed the car issue and the stains on the fence, or the stain from the fence. I don't know what happened to her car, but I know we didn't do it, and that OPD does not think we did it.
I know, but I used it correctly. Anthropomorphizing. That's exactly what she's doing with that dog.
and didn't ever even open an investigation into this. That's about it.
Your Honor, real quick, the biggest concern for me is we've had multiple incidents where she's using her vehicle as a threat, trying to run my wife off the road, coming onto her property with her car, revving her engine at the car, sparking her tires on our property, which we have video.
What sparking her tires? What the fuck even is that? Yeah, the other person is in court. They're live. She's sitting at the table silently, thank God. So we're not seeing her right now, but she will pop up in this box right here. What kind of saying is that? Sparking your tires? I think he means burning out or peeling out. But right, all of these things, if they are true, maybe you should, if you call the police and say somebody tried to run me over. Usually they look into that.
All of this, it's not a safe situation. We don't want to see this person have the ability to drive on our streets where our children are. She's proven to be very unsafe. She's harassed us multiple times. She's trespassed on our property multiple times. We just want this to stop. On top of that, she's already violated the temporary restraining order. She drove by our house the other day. I was putting stuff in the car. She didn't see me. She slowed way down, looked like she was taking out her camera to take another picture or video. And I walked out from behind the car and she took off, and I took a picture of her right there in front of the back of our house on Pioneer Street, where knows she's not supposed to be. So she clearly isn't taking this seriously. We take this very seriously. We have a house full of children. It's very important to us that this gets extended. She's just proven to not be safe.
Okay, when you tell me she brings the car onto your property, tell me what you mean by that.
She's driven her car onto our property on multiple occasions. This was primarily back in November when the fence was going up, and she drove her car. We've submitted photos of her car on our property, drove her car towards our contractors, was revving her engine on our property, pointed at her contractors and my wife. The trying to run my wife off the road was just completely, and I've heard from other people who witnessed it that's exactly what happened. So, I mean, a person who's willing to use their car as a weapon against individuals that are, just completely innocent in what they're doing is really over the top to me.
And are these incidents reported to law enforcement?
Yes.
Yeah, and I can't remember if we talked about this at the earlier hearing, but you don't need a court order to tell somebody don't drive a car at somebody. That's a crime to attempted vehicular assault. So the question there becomes, is there sufficient evidence for law enforcement to follow up on that? Whether there's a court order or not is really meaningless. Is there sufficient evidence to support the commission of a crime? And that's really the issue with the cars being driven at somebody.
So we did report it. OPD did refer her for charges, and there are currently charges at the DA's office. I don't have the case number right in front of me because I didn't really want to go too deeply into that. They called me in March and wanted a state from me and more videos. And I said at that time, the lady I spoke to, whose name was Sheila, I said at that time that things had quieted down and that I was going to put a pause on that. And if things stayed quiet, that we didn't need to push that forward, but I am going to push it forward with them as soon as we get this case over with. But they have all to do.
Okay, but I just want to make sure you understand that, what happens with the car, it isn't dependent on whether there's an order telling somebody they shouldn't drive a car at somebody. That's stated in the law. You cannot do that. So that's an issue for law enforcement, for the provision of evidence for a prosecutor review and see if there's a basis for going forward. All right, Ms. Monroe.
Okay, Miss Monroe. Definitely not the Monroe I was thinking of, but that's okay. Let's see what she has to say. Spoiler alert, we're not even halfway through this case yet. So let's see what happens.
Yes, Your Honor. As I stated in my response, I vehemently deny the allegations put forth in their petition. I know that you took some time and read everything through. A lot of what they're saying is allegations that are unsupported. They do not have documentation and pictures. I have never tried to run anyone off the road in any way. I don't have any record of any kind. I'm really saddened that Jennifer thinks I would have tried to run her off the road. When she drops off her son at school,
Okay, first, I'm just gonna say it. My first vibes, not good. Vehemently, great word. But that sentence, she was waiting to see or to say the entire time. I'm not sure she was listening at all. Yeah, her record is clean, just like the dog's, right? Also, this is something I do when I'm feigning like truth telling. So it seems odd to me. Yeah.
drop off my son at school. I come back down Pioneer. It is a very narrow road. A neighbor, Rocky, that I'm friends with, and his daughter, Courtney, has an Airbnb. I connect with Courtney about her Airbnb, as I have one as well. I drive very slowly, and oftentimes Mr. Prevost, Jennifer, and 2 other parents are walking 4 people across the road. And I never have tried to hit them. I've never swerved to hit them. I've never gone fast enough to swerve away.
I believe 1000% that Jennifer walks 4 across the road on her road. I guarantee that. I believe that already, Miss Monroe. That's 1 point for you.
Away from them. If I did turn my wheel to get away from them, that's all I was doing. I in no way have any history of any reckless violence of any kind. It is our neighborhood. It is a neighborhood where I see Jennifer run their dog down the road. I see my child going to his grandma's up the road on his bicycle. I walk to neighbors. I'm invited to 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 6 of our neighbors I am in close contact with. I get invited to their backyard barbecues. They've checked on my house. The day that my white vinyl fence was vandalized, July of 2023, I went to a neighbor's house and she came over and took a look. She's the one who said, "This looks like someone vandalized your fence. That's what it looks like." And I said, "I've tried to get a hold of the neighbors. I know that they were yelling at my contractors earlier and harassing them, telling them to stop putting up a fence." You can see in my exhibit, I think it's number 4, the fence line, the fence I put up is directly on the property line, as is their fence that they put behind that. In no way did I think that was going to disrupt anything of anyone's issues or plans. I talked to Jennifer in person June of 2023. Her son came up to my front yard with my son. Her son pulled my phone out of my purse and took a picture of himself. There's a selfie her son took of himself on my phone when we were talking about the fences. She told me it was a long time down the road that she was going to put a fence up in the front yard, that she was going to put her dog in the front yard and a hot tub in the front yard and all these ideas. And I said, "I'm just going to put a fence here and put it across my driveway so I can put a gate up, not affecting anyone." That was when they removed the fence, and the damages are seen in exhibit 1, 2, and 3. My vendor came back to re-sink it in the concrete, but it was not cured concrete. So my fence never sat right. When we put it back together, it was a very quick reassembly job on the fence because he was worried they were going to come back out. He said, "Angela, I can't do more work for you if this is how your neighbors are going to be. I don't want my name in the news. I don't want to go to court. I have to protect my company." So it was very disruptive. When they did put up their fence, I was really surprised because I didn't hear anything further. And when I came home and they had the fence out, I went and talked to the contractor, as you can see on their video. And you can see on that video that I stayed on my property the whole time. I went and talked to their vendor and I said, you know, you're building this fence out into the city's easement. And he says on the video, I'm just doing a job, ma'am. I'm just doing a job. And I said, okay, did you guys dig? And that's on the video. And Jennifer chimes in when I'm talking to the vendor and says something like, yeah, we did call about digging. And told her, your husband already told you not to meet. We've already agreed not to talk. And she continued to talk to me. We continued to speak. I realized that I needed to remove myself from the situation, and I wasn't on their property. I was on my property the whole time. I did back up my car. I did leave and go get my son. When I came back, I had called the code enforcement to have code enforcement come out because this is not my problem. It's their problem with code enforcement as they were building their fence straight out into the city's easement.
So I will say something. When I was growing up, my mother was adamant about not bothering the neighbors. Trying to think of the statute of limitations on this if there needs to be. Anyways, long story short, she did a lot of building on the property that maybe wasn't permitted or allowed, etc. But the whole point is that you can't fuck around with your neighbors and upset them because they'll call code enforcement or zoning. We call it the bylaw agency here. And yeah, she was super, like, she had a rule. I lived in that house for like 20 plus years, and she had a rule that we weren't allowed to park on the other side of the street. We were only allowed to park on our side of the street, even though it was a public street. And I was like, Mom, why does it matter? I can park over there in front of their house, so-and-so's house. She's like, yeah, you can, but you're not gonna. And I do partly understand. It's like the less pissed off your neighbors are with you, the less likely they are to rat you out to the city. So this lady's saying that she called the city on them. And again, that you're allowed to do that. It doesn't make you a very good neighbor, but neither does putting in a fence without checking on all that stuff first. Also, where I live, you cannot get permits to make suites in houses, or you couldn't back in whatever time frame, but lots of people would do the work for you. That's yeah. It's just the way it is. Like in-law suites or whatever, there's lots of people doing that work. And it's not that it's not permitted. Well, it's hard. It's like you can do the work, but you can't have a legal suite where you can have a different address because your zoning for your house isn't able to change. That's the whole thing.
When I called code enforcement, they took pictures. They told me they would follow up, and I left it at that. I did stay in my driveway. I was going through a divorce, and I called my husband at the time and reviewed with him what was happening. He said, you know what? There's nothing we can do about it. If code enforcement's going to do something, they're going to do something. And this isn't for us to do anything with. And I was in my car for a while on the phone with him. At some point, we got out of the car, my son and I, and Miss Prevost was videotaping my son and I. My son did pull a butter knife out of the car that was in our car from a picnic from Miller, Sylvania last summer. And oftentimes we've used that at the picnic. We used it at home for pulling weeds out. I have a landscaper and I don't have a shovel. I don't have a hoe. I don't have a lawnmower. I have a landscaper guy that comes through and does the weed whacking. There were weeds on the side, and my son hops out of the car. He picked up the butter knife. He says, Mom, do you need this for the weeds? And I said, nope, that's not what we're dealing with right now, honey. And I asked him for it back. He gave me the butter knife back. I did take him in the house. I gave him a snack. He's watching shows, and he opened the curtains to see what's going on with his mom outside. So the whole time my son is hanging out, in the living room, and I'm waiting for a tenant to come by, a prospective tenant, because they're going to rent my studio apartment on the front of my house. So I'm waiting for Linda to come by. At some point, her parents come in and they say, oh, Linda's just down the road. She's almost here. So I had moved my car to wait for them so they can park in the driveway. So I'm observing what's happening with the neighbor, what's happening with my son, what's happening with the people coming to see my studio. When all this is coming on, in the back of my head is they built their fence on the property line before I ever moved in. Mr. Prevost never wanted me to build the house. I bought the lot, so that's my lot now. I didn't have a concern with them building their original fence on the property line. And when I built my white segment on the property line, I didn't think they would have so much of an issue with it. When they removed my fence and told me I was building on their property, and they harassed my vendors and had my vendors scared off, I left my fence alone for a while. I didn't build any additional parts to it because I thought, well, maybe I should talk to a real estate attorney about this so that maybe they can mark the survey pins better, maybe spray paint it. I left it alone. So the day I did come home to find they were adding more of their own fence and building it out into the city's easement, making the mental note of, I can't do anything here. My hands are tied. I was frustrated, sure, but I was on my lot where the butter knife is shown going through the fence. I don't recall that. But I looked on the video to see what they were talking about, and I didn't see me in the video. So I don't know if it was someone from their home coming around. I don't know if it was a guest I had staying with me in my home, just kind of seeing what all. But I will say that at one point their segment was leaning towards my car, and I did on the video say, excuse me, can someone come get this? This is leaning towards my car, and that's on the video as well. So the way I see it is I have a free fence. The neighbor on the other side of me had emailed, no, he wrote me a letter in the mail and asked me if they could put up a fence. And I said, yeah, I have no problem with that. They told me about their fence, and I said, I would like to split the cost of it with you. And they said, oh my gosh, that's great. So the south fence, no problem, no issue, great communication. The resident that lives there, she is a behavioral health analyst, and we have no issues either. I have neighbors across the street, one of them, Kat and Kelly, they reviewed with me, that's someone vandalized that white segment of your fence. When I asked my vendor about putting it back up, he said the integrity of this segment of the fence is compromised because they pulled it out of concrete that was curing. And when we put it back in, it's like creating a sleeve for this. Anyone can just pull it out at any point now. So I actually had a friend come and take that segment out and just called it, okay, I apparently can't have this fence here, and they're going to do something else. I'm going to leave it alone. Right now, when Ms. Prevost is making her statement, and even in her documentation, she says she has witnesses, and she has not provided any witnesses. I did not know that her vendor's name was Bert Crane. I thought it was Hunter because she referenced someone named Hunter as being a witness. The only person I've seen there was her vendor, and that vendor worked on my house too because he worked for American Built Fences. So she's saying that she's got people that are going to say this for her. I think if someone's your friend, they might say what you'd ask them to say. No one asked me to not talk to the vendor. The vendor talked to me. His children, when they were working on site, talked to me. I checked my mail. My mail is directly in front of their house. The United States Postal Service came out, talked to me, said, well, you should put it right next to their mailbox. And I'm like, oh, I'd rather put it closer to my house if that's okay. So they have to pull up, empty my mail, and then go about 6 feet further and do the Prevost mail. The mailboxes are on the city's easement. And my exhibit, literally one of my exhibits shows the easement that they built their fence out to. So the one of the other challenges I have is that the fence can only be 4 feet tall in your front yard per Olympia Municipal Code. And I think it's like that so that people can drive out safely into oncoming traffic. Mr. Prevost is right. We have a school neighborhood. We're less than 3 minutes from Roosevelt Elementary School. So I have a 7-year-old son. They have a 7-year-old son. I would like to be able to see when I come out my driveway. Olympia Municipal Code Enforcement has said to me that they gave them from November 15th of last year to an extension to when weather was better for them to cut down their fence height. So the first 12 feet, they should cut down to 4 feet tall. And it's 12 feet, not 10 feet, because they moved the pin. Now they're saying they didn't move the pin, but I have a picture, which is in my documents, my exhibits, where even the exhibit video that I have submitted shows where the pin was, shows where it is. And the day they moved the pin, I heard it. I heard someone whacking metal on metal 3 or 4 times. And I thought, that's a really weird sound. My son's home and I'm a little intimidated by that. I'm not going to go out there because even if it is what I think it is, I can't do anything about it. And when I reported that to code enforcement, they said that unless you physically witnessed him doing it, there's not much we can do. You can get it resurveyed. And I'm like, okay, so that's why in my exhibits, I reached out to find the cost to get it resurveyed and repinned so I could show this is where it should be. But that's another $2,000 to have the pin put back where it's supposed to be. And even still, no one can just come down and take down their fence. It's their fence. Code enforcement would have to enforce the code to get the fence moved back beyond the peg. And it's a gross misdemeanor to move a survey pin. I feel there are gross allegations that they're presenting against me that are just not true. And the things that I have presented, the court didn't grant the protection order that I filed, and they said it was because it's a property line dispute. I filed the protection order because they damaged my property. They literally moved it from wet cement from where it was on the property line and then laid it on my property in pieces. That are my exhibits 1, 2, and 3. I've been trying to be a good neighbor. I have no concerns about their dog barking. I don't have concerns about their dog being left outside, their loud music. My son does have a disability, and I just really try to let go and let God and give it to karma that at some point this will stop. But I don't know what to do at this point because there are absurd allegations that are being presented about me that I don't have anyone to say besides my son, yeah, this happened. So when CPS talked to me, CPS in person in my home had to come and do a check on my child. She took one glance at my home, and in talking to me, we met for about 45 minutes. She said, the one who called this in, we have no concerns, and we see that often that neighbors are retaliating against each other.
Ma'am, that's rank hearsay. And you are going to have an immense problem getting somebody from CPS to come to court and admit to saying that. They will never. First of all, it's illegal to ask them in court who made a CPS report. They just don't do that. It's possible that you had a shitty worker, but you think Jennifer called CPS? It might be the case, but in my experience, judges don't appreciate people asking CPS to reveal who called. I've seen them time and time again stop that line of questioning. It's one of the very rare lines of questioning that they literally just stop in its tracks. You can't.
And I asked her specifically, is that something you can file a cease and desist letter, or is that against the law? And she said that the most we would do is a cease and desist letter after multiple occurrences. Ms. Prevost did just mention that she knows I have a custody case going on. My son's dad and I have always done 50-50. And now we're just trying to get that in writing as he gets older. But I really feel like I was retaliated against for even calling code enforcement about the fence height and then calling CPS. So that's why I'm sharing at the start of this that it's a gross misdemeanor to move a fence post. It's I feel like it's even fraudulent to put in the CPS claim. I think that's what she told me, the CPS worker. Vandalized my fence, vandalized my car. I'm a really, really busy mom, and I and I would have to go buy stain just to damage my own car, then go buy the equipment to fix the problem. And I reported it to Caleb Schaefer with OPD, as is one of my exhibits as well. He said the same thing. Unless you witness them damaging your car, there's absolutely no way we can say with all certainty that it was them. Yes, we can infer that it was them or their vendor, but it is what it is. And if you want to put up cameras, you can put up cameras. When I reported to the fence building company that these things happened and I didn't want them to come back because their employee was the person on the property doing these things, I let them know that I have video cameras up. And since I stated that, I haven't had any more issues on my property. Ms. Prevost just mentioned that she thinks I have a mental health issue and that there's been other court cases similar to this.
I'm actually leaning towards her side now with all of Jennifer's faces that she's making down here. I'm getting Karen-y vibes. I am.
I just filed for divorce from my husband this year, and I have a protection order from him. I've had it for the past couple of years, and it just got extended another year. And he was officially charged for the violence against me in my home. So even my protection order is for my son as well as my home. And so of course I'm leery of what people can do to other people. I don't want any bad blood between us. I just want to shake hands and move forward. And I have absolutely no interest or time in harassing them or doing anything to them. That is not what is happening at all.
Thank you. Were you aware that the Prevost had contact Dispute Resolution Center?
I spoke to the Dispute Resolution Center as well. I speak to them often in property management when I'm going through an eviction.
That's different. Hi, Chris. Thank you. I love vibes. Do. Thank you, Christopher Rangleby. These people are just fucking annoying. Seriously, I'm just sitting here like so bored by them. They're so petty. Could you imagine just the like nasty vibes in this neighborhood? Can you imagine? Nasty vibes in this neighborhood. Ugh.
And agreeing to terms with tenants. The Prevost had spoken to the DRC. The DRC emailed me and presented what they wanted. They wanted me to just move my white vinyl fence. And the other option.
You just thought that working with the DRC through a process wasn't going to get you anywhere?
It didn't get us anywhere because what they had asked for in the DRC was basically what they had already demanded I do. And the demand was remove your white fence from our property. And even, for me, the greatest picture is exhibit number 4. If you have that in color, you can see there's a fish line that they put up that depicts clearly like my property. So they're saying that I had my hose out and that I was spraying them. I was on my property and there is a gutter in between my curb and the property line. And that gutter, when they dug all the holes, there ended up being dirt in all the holes on my side and from their side. So yes, I did try to, like I said, I had a tenant coming for a tour. I had my son in the house and I don't know what they're going to do because they already vandalized my one item. So yes, if I was using the butter knife to clear stuff out and I was out there, I probably could have done better. I could have probably done that a different day. But a big part of me was really scared that they were going to come do something else on my side of the property. And I was out there waiting for the officers to come too.
So we sort of.
Ma'am, say thank you and love you to Chris, please. I don't think she's gonna do it, Chris. They are both so obstinate. So obstinate. I hope you enjoy Culver's. That's on my list of places to try on my next America trip. Who knows when that will be? Hopefully soon. I'm speaking it into existence. I'm trying to manifest it.
Spun off from my question, which is, tell me, what about the DRC process did you think wouldn't work?
I responded to the DRC with what I suggested. And I think I suggested that they just let me leave my little white segment up and put a white gate across my driveway that wouldn't bug them. And that they decided no, I decided no, that we didn't come to terms. And then they decided to continue making their fence, which is great. It's great that they made their fence. It's only 5 feet. If they would have asked me, I would have split the cost with them and made it 6 feet. But they made it 5 feet. My concern when I came home that day was the shock that they had been building it past the marker. And that's immediately what I reported to code enforcement. Why would you purposefully, and that's on their video. I asked their vendor, why would you purposely build into the city's easement? And that's where he said, I'm just doing a job, ma'am. And I was like, okay. And I was just shocked. I didn't realize. Then I talked to code enforcement. And he said, yeah, it is a gross misdemeanor, but it's hard to prove. And once they moved it further out, I was shocked from that too. But I don't want to communicate with them. I don't want to be
Okay.
I don't want to have this ongoing issue. And I will say, Judge, I see them at school constantly. We pick up our kids. We're maybe 10 feet from each other. I smile. Yes, when I do drive by them in the morning, I do wave because I'm trying to be polite. I'm trying to show them I don't have any animosity. I don't complain about, like I said, their dogs barking. I don't complain about, there are things that I could have complained about more. I didn't file a case about my car being vandalized because Officer Caleb Schaefer said, it's hard to prove. You're just going to be wasting the court's time and your own and theirs. And I feel like my hands are very tied. But I want to convey, like, I have no negative wishes for them. I love it when they play music because they've got a good selection. I don't mind their dog barking. It's got a deep throaty.
Oh, please tell us about the dog's bark. Tell us how throaty and deep. It's so deep the dog's bark is. Did she just throw a dig at them about their music being loud, but it's okay because they have good selection in music? Ma'am, oh God, these people. What a waste of court time.
Bark that my St. Bernard had growing up. I don't have issues with anyone in the neighborhood, and I will continually see their son at school. I'm on PTA. Even I was on the yearbook committee this year, and I made a point to put a cute picture of their son in the yearbook that was otherwise on the chopping block because I don't want to show any.
Oh my God, these are 7-year-olds. You just threw out that you're on the yearbook committee and you put in a picture of their forgettable and ugly kid. Basically, look at Jennifer's face. She is freaked out. She is freaked out. She wants to, oh geez. She's freaked out. Jennifer's like, Jeff. And I believe that Jennifer and Jeff are typing to each other off screen. And I believe that she is about to type, start looking for new houses now.
Negative intentions towards them. And I'm really surprised by the vehicle assault thing and if that Jennifer's concerned with that, because that is just not the case. I already had stains splattered over my car. I don't want anything else in any way splattered on my car. She knows I have an open custody plan going through, and I don't want anything to jeopardize that. There's absolutely there's no foundation in these allegations. Oftentimes when I get home from work, I'll be on the phone with my mom or my dad talking to them. Sometimes I'll sit in my own driveway on the phone with my mom or dad because they're older and I don't want to interrupt the phone call from the Apple CarPlay to walking in the house and lose the connection and my dad will get all frazzled. So I'm often in my driveway on the phone and I hope that doesn't alarm them, but I'm definitely not trying to do anything to engage in any negative fashion with the Pritos.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Talk to me about that you're not going on the Puget Street and Pioneer Street.
Not going on Puget Street or Pioneer Street. I don't know exactly what Mr. Prevost is talking about, having a picture of me doing something, but I will say that 90% of my driving is north on Puget Street, turning right on Pioneer to take my son to school, in addition to go to my job. In addition, if I have my son walking home from school, he may be walking that direction when it's my time with him. In the front of their home is where my mailbox is. So I have to take out the garbage and put it there. There's no other place for the garbage to go. In addition, that's where my postal mailbox is. So if I receive anything, that's the only place I can retrieve my mail.
And do you have other access to work and school other than Puget and Pioneer?
Well, I live on Puget. They park on Pioneer consistently. They never come out to Puget Street besides to check their mail. Yes, there are other streets to go, but the problem is that my son will go on that road specifically to ride his bicycle to the convenience store. He should not be on Puget Street, which is a main thoroughfare, or San Francisco Street. So he will go up Puget and go right on Pioneer, and then he'll walk down to San Francisco Bakery and cross to go to that convenience store. Also, his grandmother lives that direction. So she's over on, well, I don't really want to say, but she's 3 blocks away from us in that vicinity as well. So if he rides his bike and I need to go get him, if I need to run down the road, whether it's on foot or in my car, I would hate to have that extra detour when there's an emergency situation potential. And I would hate that for them as well. I really want us to get along. Our children are going to be in the same school for the next 11 years.
Well, both parties obviously know, and I know I've spoken with the Prevost about it. This is my first occasion to meet Ms. Monroe, but she clearly is aware of it too. This proceeding is not something that can make a determination as to who's correct about a property line and placement of fences and those sorts of things. That's a separate action that has to be done in Superior Court through a quiet title action. I cannot do anything here that resolves that issue for the parties. And so I just want to be really clear about that. And much like the concern that the Prevosts have about their belief that Ms. Monroe ran the car at them, the same thing applies for Ms. Monroe. Your belief that the Prevosts are doing things to your property, same issue. It's a crime to damage people's property. The issue is there proof that a specific person damaged the property? And that's the matter for law enforcement, for a prosecutor's office, not a matter for court to tell somebody you can't go damage other people's property. It's already, you're not allowed to do that. So those are all evidentiary issues. And that's where both parties, both have, expressed significant concern about each of those issues, but really those are issues that need proof, and police and prosecutors, that's what they would be looking for. And you both seem to express an understanding of that.
You think it's a wash? Jennifer's she's barely holding on to reality down here. She literally looks like she's riding a wave of anxiety right now. She might pass out.
All right, that being said, I will enter the full order under the terms of the temporary order, with one exception. I am going to remove the Puget Street and Pioneer Street restrictions I put on that prior order. I'm not satisfied, having heard all the evidence, that that's necessarily crucial to trying to keep the parties apart. I will direct Ms. Monroe that you have no contact at all with Prevost, with their child. Don't wave at them, don't smile at them. You don't have to be mean to them either. Just, they don't exist for the next year in your life. And you're not to go within 10 feet of their property, their vehicle, or their person.
Can I ask, the mailbox in the front, their property line is further back than 10 feet from my mailbox. So can we just clarify that me checking my mail and putting my,
You can go to your mailbox.
okay. And then additionally, when I,
Just-
when I'm driving on Pioneer, their driveway sits as so about the back 5 feet.
You can drive on Pioneer Street. But,
So specifically then at school.
you know, if they come in and, you know, that's going to be an extensive conversation. The court will look at evidence differently. Right now, I'm choosing not to say that you're engaged in some inappropriate purpose. I do understand that the Prevost strongly believe you are, and I'm going to put in the order about the no contact, but for right now, I'm going to give you access to Puget Street and Pioneer Street. That can be revisited in the future if there seems to be some abusive behavior going on there.
Okay. And then additionally,
Mark, wow. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. I would love to be able to get that sourdough kit. I'm sorry. I'm like actually choking. Thank you, Mark. Oh my goodness. You're excused from being late for today. Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to source out that sourdough kit, get the nice baskets for way cheaper. I'm a girl that loves a deal, Mark, but I love generosity too. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Oh, wow. Now I'm on the verge of freaking out, just like Jennifer is down there. Oh my God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bam. I love you guys so much. Oh my God. Okay. What is the judge saying? He put the order in place, Mark. He put the order in place. Holy moly. I really want those baskets too. They are so fucking cute.
to clarify, our children are both in the same grade. I've asked the principal to ensure that their son's not in my son's classroom,
Mhm.
just for overall ease of communication and comfort for all parties. However, when we're at school events, what does that mean for that space?
Just means you're 10 feet away from the Prevost,
Okay,
which
so
probably
my
can be
concern is,
accommodated in,
what if we don't notice how close we are, our
Just-
backs to each other?
just move away. Just
Okay.
nobody knows.
Okay,
This all requires an intent to violate. So we put in some boundaries so everybody understands what those boundaries are. So that's what we're going to do. And, you know, you both have put lots of energy and passion. You both filed lots of exhibits. You both feel very strongly about this. You both do, both parties. So understand that that's what I see. And I'm hoping that just this year of cooling off where you're under court order not to have any contact with them at all will allow the situation to at least settle down a bit so that you don't have to live your lives in conflict with each other. Okay, Ms. Monroe is in the court. We will give her a copy of the order that I've signed. The Prevost can access that through your file at district court.
thank you.
Download it. All right,
Thank you.
this order is, as I indicated, will take effect today since Ms. Monroe is present. It will be in effect for 1 year from today's date. Three votes want it renewed, you'd have to come back to court and ask for it to be renewed.
Okay, thank you,
All right.
Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
They said thank you and they've left. All scared, Judge. Wow.
Is that something I should give to the principal as well?
You might want to, yeah.
Wow. I'm still thrown off by Mark. Okay, do you guys want to watch the soft sit video? Dreaming of sourdough baskets. Oh, I really am now. That was I'm shocked that he put that order in place. I am. I'm shooketh. They shooketh. Okay. I'll put it. If you want this without, this is the, this is the director's cut. I'm the director.
Right, do you understand what it means to take a seat?
I do understand.
All right, so take a seat. Thank you.
Take a seat. Yeah, there must be a lot more in the writings, etc. So just a quick reminder, please do go and leave a comment on this video. In reality, it probably won't matter. Oh, I sound so apathetic. It will matter, but I would rather watch it here with you right now, to be honest. I'm always guilty of wanting to do things live with people, and it's the opposite way of how YouTube Daddy wants it to work, and I know that, but I don't care. So let's just enjoy this together, but do please go check it out on the channel. The Chan, the Chan. I really do appreciate the tip from Saul, by the way. My last non-live had a ton of views. I know. Did it? Yeah, it had like a couple thousand views for sure, which was good. It was a good case. I don't usually cover Judge Boyd very often. She's very well covered, I'll say that. Insert football reference here. Oh, also MB, I was talking to my dad today about the Euro 2024. It was really funny. He was
All right,
jealous of your husband.
Mr. Casanova, you want to come forward? Yes.
Mr.
Hello,
Casanova.
how's it going?
Could be better.
All right, so my understanding, you want to represent yourself? All right, you're more than welcome to represent yourself, but here's the thing. Everybody says that they can be an attorney because all attorneys do is talk. That's what people think. But they don't realize there's a lot of knowledge, experience, and wisdom behind that.
Absolutely.
So if you want to have a jury trial where you represent yourself, you're more than welcome to do so. But once it's set for trial, it's going to trial and no one's going to be helping you. The state is not going to say, hey, we see that you really don't know the rules, so let me tell you this rule. They're not going to be doing that. My job is not going to be to help you with objections, help you with motions. That's 100% you. Do you understand?
I do. And are we on the record?
No, we're not on the record. What, you want to put something on the record?
And the script begins. Are we on the record, sir? Like they think the record is some magical thing, like judges are afraid of it. Bitch, it's their record. Okay? Yeah, his hair is longer than mine, I think. Oh, but I will try and replicate the hairstyle like I usually do. So I'll try and braid my hair while he's literally making a fool of himself. It's fucking glorious, you guys. He's a soft sit. He's got the script. She lets him walk. Oh, it's beautiful. I got the whole thing. Just watch. It's so.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Sure. All right, court is calling. 2024 CR 2974, State of Texas Vector versus Hector Casanova. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? And are you Hector Casanova?
No, for the record, I am the flesh and breathing man. I'm here on a special appearance to clarify any misunderstanding. I am not the legal fiction known as Hector J. Casanova that is on the information there. I just have a few questions to clarify some things.
All right, so if you would like to clarify some things, then the person I need to speak to is the flesh and blood man known as Hector Casanova.
Yes, I'm the flesh and blood man, Hector Casanova Jr.
All right, so you are Hector Casanova, correct?
I am Hector Casanova Jr., the flesh and breathing man.
All right, well, I'm glad you're breathing. So what did you want to place on the record?
Well, first, I don't understand the charges that are being brought against me.
There, I immediately fucking believe that he does not understand circle. Awful. It's just so fucking gorgeous. All with a smile on everybody's face, which is even better. And I think he's confused beyond belief. So funny. No, I'm not this. And his last name's Casanova. Totally is Mark. Right? Uh,
There are some clarifications I do want to.
All right, so just 1 second, but before we get to that, have you been given a copy of the indictment?
No, I have not.
All right, so we're gonna get you a copy of the indictment. Just give me a moment. All right, have a seat. We're gonna come back on the record with this.
All right.
Deputy Laura, do you know if he's been served with the indictment yet?
I'm not sure.
All right, thank you.
A few moments later.
I wanted to include him actually being served these documents in the court.
All right, who is the prosecutor who is on Hector Casanova? All right. Oh, well, he's reading the indictment. Have you had a chance to review the indictment? All right, let me have you come up. All right. So we're back on the record in 2024 CR 2974, State Vex versus Hector Casanova. All right, Mr. Casanova, here's the thing. And I want you to hear me clearly, right? I am not your attorney. The document that has been given you is a copy of the indictment. I'm not to give you information about your indictment. That's the indictment. That's what we're here for. So any questions that you would have about that indictment, you're going to have to answer those for yourself. Otherwise, the person who will be telling you about what the indictment means and what the numbers are, that would be an attorney. Do you understand?
I do not understand.
Oh, what that means is, for example, we can go off the record. I'm giving you a hypothetical. All right. Let's say you needed surgery and you're in the middle of the wilderness, you need surgery, and you tell me and you tell the doctor, guess what? I'm performing this surgery on my own. I don't need you. I'm walking out of the hospital. I'm going to go in the desert. Now, maybe the doctor would try to stop you and do other things. But if you go in that desert by yourself, don't tell the doctor where you are. You take a scalpel out in the desert by yourself. You don't get to call the doctor and say, hey, I'm in the middle of the desert performing surgery. I'm going to be my own anesthesiologist. I'm doing all of this. How do you do this? Because they're not going to tell you. It's the same thing here. You're saying that you do not want to be represented by an attorney. You want to represent yourself. So that motion, that indictment, I'm not to tell you anything about what that indictment is. The state is not to tell you, oh, this is what this indictment means. This is the range of punishment. Those are things that you're supposed to do. Do you understand?
I still don't understand.
All right, so just have a seat. This is what's going to end up happening. You're going to have an attorney. That attorney is going to come over to the court right now. You're going to speak to that attorney. After you speak to that attorney, we're going to go forward. Ms. Ferguson, can you call manage to sign counsel and let them know that we need an attorney over here? And that attorney will talk to you. That attorney will tell you what that indictment means. That attorney will tell you the range of punishment. Do you understand?
I still don't understand.
All right, well, I don't know how I can further make you understand.
Are we on the record?
Yeah. All right, Norma, get someone from manage to sign counsel here, please. All right, just have a seat and we're going to have an attorney come down. All right.
I would like to ask some questions on the record, if I may, while I have your time here.
Oh, no, let me just tell you, you'll have my time till 5 o'clock because that's how long we're here. What is going to end up happening is an attorney from manage to sign counsel is going to come down. Do you understand?
I do not understand because I don't feel like I am needing an attorney because I'm here to represent myself as the flesh and breathing man, Hector Casanova Jr. Let's see.
This is so funny. Look at her face. This is glorious. This is gotta be one of the best examples of just an absolute sovsidiot.
All right, so let the record, record of the court.
1 second. All right, we're on the record. So what did you want the record to reflect?
So let the record of the court show that I, Hector Casanova Jr., the accused in this criminal action, has asked the court to divulge the nature and cause of the accusation upon the authority of the Sixth Amendment, and that this court has failed in its duty to inform me of the nature and cause of this action. Furthermore,
let me
let the
stop
record
you.
also show.
Mr. Casanova, let me ask you a question. Have you been given a copy of the indictment?
I believe so.
All right, so let the record reflect that Mr. Casanova has been given the copy of the indictment. And the copy of the indictment, it tells him what he is charged with. You may continue.
Now, these charges, are they civil? Is this a civil charge or a criminal charge?
All right, that is something that if you had an attorney to represent you, they would be able to tell you. What the court can tell you is that you are in a felony court and this is a criminal court.
Okay. So, this being a criminal, let the record of the court show that the action against me is criminal action. My following question would be, the Constitution grants this court two types of criminal jurisdiction. Criminal jurisdiction under the common law and criminal jurisdiction under the admiralty or military tribunal. In which of these two jurisdictions does this court intend to try me?
All right, so this is what is going to happen, Mr. Casanova. Someone from manage to sign counsel is going to come over and you can speak with them or not speak with them. But the questions that you are asking the court are not, some of them are not in any shape, form, or fashion related to the fact that you're in a criminal district court. Do you understand?
I do not understand.
Okay.
But I don't think you'll be violating your oath of office if you did your duty under the Constitution. I am not seeking legal advice. What I want to know is legal intent.
Mhm.
I have the right to appear as myself in my own person without a licensed attorney. In order to intelligently defend myself, I need to know the jurisdiction this court is operating under.
Mhm.
Let's see. So therefore, will you please answer the question so that way this court is properly identified?
All right, you're in the 187 District Court. It's a criminal court. You're on the 4th floor.
Thank you. This constitution grants this court two types of criminal jurisdiction. Criminal jurisdiction under the common law and criminal jurisdiction under.
All right, I'm gonna
admiralty or military
Counsel,
tribunal.
I'm sorry, Mr. Casanova, in the human flesh. I'm gonna stop you right there. What is gonna end up happening, I want you to hear me clearly. An attorney is coming over for managed assigned counsel, period. That's it. So have a seat, managed assigned counsel will come over. Do you understand? Yes or no?
I do not understand.
All right, do you understand what it means to take a seat?
Wait, didn't we see this part? Uh-oh. I fucked it up somehow by including that. Or is this just that important? Whatever. Let's just keep.
I do understand.
All right, so take a seat.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right, and state, once managed assigned counsel
What was
comes
the
down,
feeling?
make sure that you have your discovery ready so that they can see it.
Oh, wait, this is a second take a seat, right?
A few moments later.
Oh, yeah. So his lawyer came really quickly, actually.
Yes.
We have talked.
Mhm.
I've informed him that I'm here, to help him in whatever he needs help with.
Mhm.
He's gonna consider what help he thinks he might need from me, and I know he wants to put something on the record.
Okay, all right, and so you'll be appointed as standby
Yes.
counsel then?
I've kind of explained my role and what that means and how I can help him with something as simple as e-filing or that type of thing, so.
All right, we're gonna go back on the record in 2024 CR 2974, State versus Hector Casanova. Mr. Casanova, if you'll come forward. Yes. All right, so Mr. Casanova, Mr. Bonk is going to be your standby counsel. And that's someone that if you have questions, you can ask him legal questions or what you may have.
Thank you for your consideration.
All right.
Uh,
And he informed me you wanted to place something on the record?
yes, for the record, I want
For the record, it continues. He still wants to put shit on the record. Oh, poor judge just wants to be done for the day. Literally, last case of the day.
to make it known that I'm here on special appearance under threat, duress, and coercion.
All right, who threatened or coerced you to come to court?
The county of Bear, Texas.
How
State.
so?
Well, if I don't come here, then warrants will be placed, which I will be kidnapped and held hostage. And that's why I'm here. To clarify any misunderstandings and to let it be known where I stand on the record.
Okay. Is there anything else?
I said everything that needed to be said.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to recall your case in 1 month. It's going to be a discovery setting. So that's to make sure that you have all the information that the state has concerning your case. Do you understand?
I do understand.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, if I can have a 30-day reset for Mr. Casanova. And after you receive all the discovery, then the next setting is going to be a plea deadline date. The state will tender an offer to you at the next setting. And then I'll give you your plea deadline date and you can accept the state's offer, come to an agreement or not. If you're unable to come to an agreement at that time, it'll be scheduled for jury trial.
Thank you, Ms. Boyd.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I have no further questions.
All right, so Ms. Ferguson is going to give me a date and then you'll sign it. Mr. Bonk will sign it to signify when you're to come back. All right.
I appreciate your time.
All right, you're welcome. And thank you for dressing appropriately for court. What date, Ms. Ferguson? All right, so we'll be back on July 29th. All right, once you sign the reset form, you'll be excused. Yes.
If something were to come up and I need to maybe reschedule that date, is that a possible thing? Does it
You'll
come
need-
up ahead of time?
You'll need to speak to the court coordinator and they will let you know. I will tell you, the rescheduling of cases. Are you in the hospital? You're not in the hospital, you need to be here.
Okay,
You understand?
so pretty much no excuse, be here.
Yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think that's our last case for the day. Is that
Wow. Hold on.
correct? All right, thank you for coming over, Mr. Bach.
Yes, Judge.
Viking Web Productions. It's been a minute.
BUN.
There's some good news today. Faced with bad news and good news. That is excellent. So glad. So glad that you're here. How lovely is that? That case again was posted on the channel. I had my hair like his, but I don't want it like that anymore. I want to go on a cruise with a chef's table now that you've said it. What a crazy day of cases. What a crazy day, mostly altogether. There was bad news. We'll talk about it once again here, before we say goodbye. And don't worry, we will be back tomorrow with the remainder of the custody case. But we will once again say an F in the chat for Tommy V and MI, who sadly has passed away. Another creator and a channel and a friend to many. And so F's in the chat, RIP to Tommy. Terrible news. But sometimes good news and bad news comes tied together. Into the chat strolls Viking Web Productions, somebody we haven't seen in a minute. And we're glad to see you. Please make sure you come back. But seriously, Tommy, very sad. Very, very sad. Sad indeed. And I'm sorry if I'm the first person to tell you that. I only heard about it earlier today, but it has been confirmed. So take a moment to, I don't know, leave some, I don't know what to do. X in the chat. Leave some comments. Be thoughtful and mindful of hugging those who are close to you, calling those who are far away. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Yeah, we'll pour one out for Tommy. I'll pour out some of this Canada Dry ginger ale. Guess there's some good news as well. There is going to be a dog sidekick appearing for the next little while in the streams. You guys will meet him tomorrow. His name is Gunner. And not quite a bluebell, but still very good. So I hope that each and every one of you have a good rest of your night. Reminder that I love you. I am proud of you. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.